Our next presenter this evening will be Mark and Melanie, and just in case you haven't figured it out yet, they're going in birth order here. They've got some help.
So if that's birth order, that makes me the favorite, number 5. So happy that each and every one of you have come here tonight. Speaking of those that are friends and extended family associates. Without you, certainly we could not pay the tribute that we're going to pay to Mom and Dad here tonight. And your time, your effort, and the sacrifice that you have made to be here on this Thursday evening makes a tremendous statement of your agreement with our honoring of Mom and Dad tonight. And it's with great, tremendous gratitude that I could stand here and address Mom and Dad on this joyous occasion of their 50th wedding anniversary. Seems nearly impossible that time has so quickly brought us to this day and this occasion. When we pause and reflect upon the life that we've had, and when I say that, I'm talking about the life that we have had, we've lived for the Lord, and all the things that we've seen God do, we know it's because of Mom and Dad. And it's with great pride that we honor them this evening. And it's your faithfulness to each other that has given us such security in our life. And because of that faithfulness to each other, we've not had to endure many of the hardships that some of our friends and colleagues have had to endure, watching their mother and father go through struggles and eventually breaking up. Dad mentioned something tonight about the proverb of expecting nothing. That has been part of the philosophy of his life. And what's really been the philosophy of their lives is give everything, expect nothing. And that's what has so impressed me about my mom and dad. When I think of your endless giving and your generosity to the work of the Lord, I realize that although that our names are not on Forbes' list of wealthiest people, certainly if there's another list of those that are wealthy in intangible, priceless things, we certainly are there. We grew up in a home where Mom was always there. Mom was working, but not outside the home. She was always home. And that made our home such a warm, inviting place. And thank you, Mom, for not pursuing things outside the home and pursuing the best career that a woman could have, is making a home for her family. Thank you. And I would just add, she did this without complaint or ever wishing that she was somewhere else. At least I never knew that she did. And to Dad, I suppose if I could say a word that sums up Dad, would be consistency. And I've known in my life that some days I can be pretty good for a day. But Dad has integrity every day. And the minister friend of mine told me that he had an occasion to be at a counselor with one of his children. And the counselor, who was not a church-going person at all, looked at him and said, "Preacher, if you want to keep your children, whatever it is you believe, don't ever change it." And I don't think that there has been a greater sermon that has ever been preached than that right there for your family. I had another occasion to sit across from an elderly gentleman at a Christmas party one time, and he began to recount to me that he and his wife had 7 children. He said one of the most profound things to me that I've ever heard regarding children. He said, "You know, there's not much else you can do with your life that really matters, is raise your children." And I think Mom and Dad certainly have embodied that. I have so many memories, and I didn't bring a watch tonight, so I won't share them all because we will be here a very long time. I think at one time, thinking my father's love for ice cream, it was a very, very warm night in Manchester, and we went to a place that may still be there, may not be. It was Blake's Ice Cream. And all of us wanted a root beer float. And being a hot night, we all wanted a large one. And would you believe the waitress came to us and said, we don't have the glasses that we use for large root beer floats. And I think it was Dad that says, well, can you put it in another glass? Not to be deterred. And so they did, only they put it in 2 glasses. And so our family sat there. Each one of us had 2 large, or looked to be large root beer floats. And you should have seen the other people look. What is up with those people? And it's one of the treasured memories of our family. And there are so many. I'll just share that because I think it's just kind of comical. And God has blessed our family abundantly. And Dad, my father, of course, brought me into this world. He corrected me. He belted my backside. And I deserved it every time and more that I didn't get. He baptized me, corrected me, helped marry me, helped ordain me. And I stand here as a reflection of him, I hope. I just want to say that what our family has become is not an accident. It's not just something that slipped through and the Chandler family got lucky and all their kids stayed saved. It's because Mom and Dad showed us God in such a way where we said, I want their God. And this God is our God. It's my God too. And my 3 little sweet children, I trust, will one day say that to me. God's blessed me with a beautiful wife. She's a great addition to the Chandler family, and she has a few words to say.
Normally when an occasion comes like this, I try very hard to squirm and get out of anything. When we were told that the families each needed to have something to say, I thought, well, great, Mark will say it all. And if I can get out of it, that would be really great. But this morning, I felt so impressed that I had to say something. I couldn't let this occasion go by and not say anything. And the Lord actually impressed upon my heart 2 scriptures. And the one being Proverbs 31, verse 28. And it says, her children rise up and call her blessed. And her husband also, and he praiseth her. Now, is that not what her children are doing to her today? They are rising up and they are calling her blessed. And I think that is just the most tremendous and beautiful thing I have ever seen in my entire life. And then to Daddy, I began to think of that scripture in Psalm 127, verses 3, 4, and 5. And it said, children are the heritage of the Lord. And the fruit of the womb is his reward. And I thought about that. The fruit of the womb is whose reward? It's the Lord's reward. Children are the reward of the Lord. And it went on to say, as arrows are in the hand of a mighty man, so are the children of the youth. Blessed is the man that hath his quiver full of them. Or happy is the man, happy is the man that hath his quiver full of them. And I began to think, what man would not be happy to see all of his children rise up and call their mother his wife blessed? Truly, Daddy must be a very happy man. And then I look at my life coming into this family 17 years ago, and I thank the Lord that I am part of this great, and I really mean, truly mean great family. I am sure that, I guess I can't be sure, but I often think that when Mama and Daddy found out that Mark intended to marry me, I certainly must have had their concerns coming from the type of family that I came from. I wasn't a saved family, far from it. And not knowing what type of a person I really was. If they had any concerns, they never expressed them. They welcomed me into the family as if I were one of their own. And in a family that I come from, love is somewhat conditional, and they have accepted me, faults, failures, and all. And I just thank God for their example. If I can be half the woman Mama is, I will be somebody. And I thank them for giving me an example of what a real marriage really is like. Thank you, Mama and Daddy. I love you.
We have one little thing that we're going to do tonight to speak to the fact that we desire to pass this legacy along. I want to ask my 5-year-old son, Zachary, to come. I'll put him up here so you can see him. He's got a little song he wants to sing to all of you, and particularly to his grandmother tonight. You awake, Bob? Okay.
Great grandpa was no time preacher man. He preached the word of God throughout the land. He preached the plan the child could understand. My grandpa is a no time preacher man. Grandpa was a no time preacher man. He preached the word of God throughout the land. He preached the plan the child could understand. Great grandpa was a no time preacher man.
We woke him up at 5 this morning. He was a little tired. There's more to say, Daddy.
Daddy was a no time preacher man. He preached the word of God throughout the land. He preached the plan the child could understand. He was a no time preacher. I don't want to be a no time preacher man. I'll go preach the word of God throughout the land. I preach so plain a child could understand. You know that
I have been thumping him, doing everything, trying to keep him awake. You can go to sleep now, Bub. We do have something that we want to present to Mom and Dad tonight. And if they would come forward. Blocks to it. Each member of the family has signed a block. There are 9 center blocks, and there's a picture of each of our families, a picture of our departed brother, and 3 pictures of Mom and Dad. One at their wedding day, another picture of our family before anyone got married, and another picture of them just a little while ago, symbolizing 50 years. And this quilt is not quite complete because there's 2 blocks that don't have a name in it. And tonight they're going to finish this quilt. And you can admire it because they are special members. My wife used to look at it. And my wife Melanie, if you haven't already guessed, is a tremendously talented with a needle and some thread. And she has spent countless hours, I can testify, and tell you, countless hours in this quilt. And these fabrics come from her collection. And also, Cheryl had some hand in the 9 center blocks in quilting it. And you can see, I don't mind telling you, it's extremely beautiful. And as I said, it's not finished. There are 2 blocks on either side that need to be signed, and Mom and Dad can go ahead and do that.
Now, obviously, last but not least, you obviously are the baby of the family. Not yet? Still a baby of the family.
Tim and I used to do this little song back when I think Tim was probably about 10 and I was around 13. And perhaps we should have found some way to show you how we looked then, but that's kind of difficult at this particular. And Atlanta says, oh, that's okay. But we used to do this little song called The Preacher Boy, and this guitar that he's carrying, I have preached about that guitar. One day in junior high school, some kid wanted to sell his guitar for $10. And I snatched up on that bargain. And the next day he wanted it back, and I said, no way, we had a deal. That's the guitar, and we used to sing this song with it. Sleeping on a pallet on a sawdust floor may not sound like a good hit. But when the preaching goes on in the middle of the night, a kid needs a place to lay his head. Well, we never had a lot that other folks had, but we knew how happy could be. That's good enough for a preacher's boy, and that's good enough for me. I carved my name on a shaky bench, I think it was the second row. That was a night I learned about reaping what you sow. For Dad wasn't only good with the word, he was good with that hickory switch. That was good enough for a preacher's boy, and that's good enough for me. I know what it is to sleep on the floor when company comes in from out of town. I know what it is to wait till last to eat when Mama calls the guests all around. I wore patches on my pants and worn out shoes and carried pans when the tin roof leaked. That was good enough for a preacher's boy, and that's good enough for me. It wasn't too bad and it wasn't too good to go on a bended knee, till that morning came when I heard Dad preaching about eternity. He said I could go where the streets are gold and the mansions are free. That's good enough for a preacher's boy, that's good enough for me.
My, this is just amazing. Well, now, I guess it is, last but not least, the baby of the family, Tim. Everybody's had a song tonight. And I don't suppose you have a song. Tim without a song, can you imagine? Hey, but I just wonder, this has been a collection of songs. Is there any chance that this could be put on a CD and distributed to your friends that are here today for a price? It's possible. Now, Tim, it doesn't have to be all studio quality. You know, but if you could just somehow get all this collection, is there anybody here tonight besides me that would be willing to pay for this collection of songs? Look at the hands, Tim. Hey, you know what? I think you can make it worth you. How much y'all willing to pay? You know, $15 a CD. I mean, can we, you know?
I'll pay 20 for one.
Hey, there we go. That's somebody that's, you know, I got 20. How many at 20? How many at 25? Yeah. So Tim, since you are the guy, all of us are going to be depending on you to get a little bit of this evening, because that would be quite a collage of songs. It really would be beautiful. Tim, Lana, come with your presentation.
I'm last, so I get to say anything I want without reservation.
We'll get you.
I don't have to worry about the age limit or the time limit that I used to have to worry about. I do watch the speed limit a little bit more than I used to. But some of what I wanted to say has already been said, but if you think it was fun just observing the whistle changing, and I don't think everyone caught that, you should have been the one that was able to change the whistle tune. Because Dad and the whistle go together. If you ever hear or see Dad, you know that every time you hear or see him, chances are within 30 seconds of meeting him, he's going to be whistling. Well, that was a household tradition. And there were songs that he whistled that I just wasn't in the mood for. They weren't bad songs, I wasn't ready to hear that song whistled. And so in the presence of whoever was there, I would just go to the piano and start playing a different song, or the first verse to a different song, and then I'd stop at the chorus and listen, and within about 5 seconds, that particular song was being whistled. And if something happened that I didn't like that particular song, I could go back to the piano and I could change the song again. And so we had a mini concert many nights out of the week, whistling concert. It's not right to talk about somebody behind their back. And so, Daddy, I'm going to relate tonight some things that I tell elsewhere. And that way I won't feel bad. But I don't put it in a bad light. I'm very proud of my heritage. I always tell people about the fact that of the home that I came from, and many of the places we go. Of course, not only our mom and dad known, but Grammy and Grampy Howe, and I always make sure that everybody knows that I am the grandson of Grampy Howe. And after I get all of that out of the way, I somehow come around to our roots and how we got established in singing and playing and all of that. And one of my childhood memories, and it wasn't real fun at the time, but I look back on it and I appreciate it. But I remember there was the night that, of course, Mom played, and after Pauline and Cheryl got married, and I was playing the piano some, and Mom was playing the organ, and she plays by note, and I don't play by note. And so whatever it was written in, that's the way we had to play it. And so there was never any hard songs. It was just, you know, we sang from the book, and we just sang whatever we wanted to sing. Except there was the night that Daddy said, well, let's sing page so-and-so. And Mom said, well, I don't know that song. I said, well, let's try it anyway. And we tried it. And I don't know that we ever tried it again, but We proved that it could be done. And invariably, Dad would always start a song, and he would start a song and just start singing. No introduction, no preparation, which is not always bad. But invariably, it would be in the key of A or E or B or Z flat. I mean, somewhere in there. And we would have to follow him. Well, I think I got my whistling tune changing from Mom, because she would always change it. The way I would change his whistle, she would change his key. It was a key that wasn't liked by all. Well, we just shift keys the next course. So my abilities to play in any key just a little bit came from Mom and Dad. A collaboration of Mom and Dad working together. So I appreciate them. One of my first memories, I would have to say, that I can ever remember, of course, my first memory comes at a time when most of my brothers and sisters were already up and going. But I think one of my first memories is of camp meeting, Salvation Army, in Worcester, Mass. And just saying all that brings back a lot of memories to a lot of you. But I remember early in the morning being up with them in the kitchen. I don't know why I was there, but I was there watching that rotary conveyor belt toaster do its job. And it was kind of a neat invention, but I thought it was kind of boring because it didn't have any buttons that I could press. And that was one of my first memories of and seeing Mom and Dad in a position of servanthood. It reminded me of the scripture where Jesus said, if you want to be first, you've got to be last, and you've got to be the servant of all. Mom and Dad have never asked for any position or any place, but I can honestly say, through the voice of observation, they have been the example of true servanthood in my life. To me, that makes them great. In God's book, that makes them great. And I'm honored to be the last son in this family. And thank all of you for coming to help and to share in our celebration together. We have a 6-year-old girl that is waiting to sing a song, and she is in the midst of doing her own recording, and she is more than ready to sing. So we're going to let her do that before my wife comes and has a few things to say.